JR might be a dickhead, but apparently he's got some great friends.
Make a stand against the undead swarm in World War Z Aftermath. The ultimate co-op zombie shooter inspired by Paramount Pictures' blockbuster film and the next evolution in the World War Z game franchise that has now captivated over 15 million players. Here at Saber Interactive, we are excited about what Aftermath is bringing to the universe of World War Z. In this video, we'll show you what's new in the game before you get the chance to experience it for yourself this fall. One of the hallmarks of World War Z has been the co-op episodic campaign experience set across locations around the world that tell the developing story of survivors of the zombie apocalypse. In Aftermath, you will take the fight back to the undead and find ways to turn the tide for the first time in all new international locations, including Rome. You'll face Zeke in close quarters through cobblestone streets and annihilate the hordes with your fellow survivors in epic battles through the catacombs, the Colosseum, and more. With careful teamwork and fearless combat, together you will fight to take back Vatican City in the ultimate confrontation against the zombie scourge. Join old friends from previous episodes of World War Z in a brand new location with missions in the Russian peninsula of Kamchatka, where you will need to traverse an abandoned cruise ship and fight your way through a blizzard to recover a nuclear submarine. For the first time in the franchise, you have the option to experience the massive battles against the zombie horde in the up-close and personal first-person view. And that's not all. An intense and visceral new melee system takes World War Z combat to the next level, allowing you to slaughter Zeke with unique moves, perks, and all-new dual-wielding and two-handed melee options featuring brutal weapons like sickles, cleavers, the fire axe, sledgehammer, and more. We've also added the brand new Vanguard class. For a total of 8 unique classes in Aftermath, Vanguards wield a powerful electric shield to plow through hordes with devastating efficiency. And keep your eyes and ears open for a new threat. A vicious plague of rats also join the ranks of special flesh-hungry enemies. They require acute team awareness and precise aim or crowd control weapons to overcome them. Keep a lookout or you'll soon find yourselves overwhelmed. To provide our community with more gameplay rewards than ever before, we're adding daily challenges with special modifiers for bonus rewards, so there will always be a new bounty to take on each day that you play. For PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X players, all of this intense action comes at you in glorious 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. For players new to the franchise, World War Z Aftermath includes all new content from World War Z Game of the Year Edition, including the full episodes of New York, Moscow, Jerusalem, Marseille, and Tokyo. Altogether, 23 total PvE maps across 7 massive episodes, an amazing wealth of content. And for our veteran World War Z players, we have you covered with discounted purchase paths to get Aftermath. Online multiplayer gameplay truly makes this a game for the community. And for those who prefer to go the single-player lone wolf approach, World War Z Aftermath will, as always, allow you to play through all episodes with AI teammates, so you don't have to rely on friends or strangers to continue the story. We cannot wait for you to get your boots on the ground once again in the war against the zombie swarms. We will see you and your friends in action this fall in World War Z Aftermath.
Is it Siegerblot already?
The days are long and the nights are warm and lit with fires.
And it marks the beginning of raiding season.
We still need to finish gathering offerings for the gods so we can earn their favor. With their blessing, we will have calm waters, good winds, and much bounty.
We could all use some combat practice. This has a good weight to it. Competition breeds camaraderie.
Everyone in the tournament must choose a second, an ally to fight by your side.
Warlock, I'm interested.
A new power is rising in Francia.
The Raven clan will answer your call.
Hey up, how do? JR here. Welcome to Workshop Wednesdays live. Well, sorry, Workshop Wednesday live. Yeah, no, sorry, Haskahar, we can't blame Daj because I did it. Damn it. We can't blame Daj with that one. Yeah, no, so we started off with some really shitty bit rates there. It was like red, orange, red, red, orange. It's because we still had the Covalex drive sync on, so we have a big server in America where all of our files are backed up to, and when I forget to pause the sync, every time I change a file here, it's uploading terabyte files and stuff. So we can always blame Dart. Oh, he's not here to defend himself though. It's bad. It's bad. But yeah, okay. It's Dodge's fault. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Welcome to the new layout for the stream. So had a bit of a play around. We need more cameras. Always need more cameras. So we can see my screen here because someone was asking in chat about a project that we've done in the past. We'll have a look at that very quickly first. Yeah, so that's that. We have a little bit of chat underneath, which will be replaced by co-hosts when we have co-hosts. And then right down at the bottom, there is my live desk cam, and we can swap those two over so that we can kind of keep the screen at the bottom and do that. And then we've also got even more cameras. So I can run over here. And we have even more cameras over here. So I am here and I can see chat. I have chat here. We have a laser cam. I can swap between these cameras so that we can have a look at the laser in more detail. And so that, I need to remember which one's which. So that this PC over here, so the PC I stand at while we're doing kind of lasering, we can now see that. So how cool is that? So I've set up a multitude of more cameras because you can't have too many cameras. And like, no kidding, I want to put another 6 in here. I really want to get the new Elgato Camlink Pro that's got the 4 HDMI's on. It's going to be a bit of a bugger because to make this look nice, like I've done over here, you kind of need 3 cameras, because you kind of need a face cam so I can talk to you guys, and then you need a screen and an overhead, and I think it's that whole thing of I kind of want the same setup for over here, because this is the table we do all the casting on and stuff at the moment. So I'd kind of like to have a camera over there that's looking at me this way, and then a wide angle and a close angle camera for that as well. So yeah, so there can be, and it would also be nice to have a mobile cam, go and see the 3D print room. So yeah, I could very easily do another 6 cameras, and it's not too difficult to set up. You do start running into issues with USB buses. Basically, you can only really run 1 camera into each. So having a PCIe card that can run 4 inputs into it, I think, would be the answer to that. The camera I've got here now is my decent camera, so we shouldn't have any of the issues of the focusing problems. I might need to block out the natural light that's over there, because it does mess this camera up a little bit, and us go to actual lighting like we'd have in the winter. Hello, Firemaster. I'm just talking shite, just talking about our new cameras and things. So, Lupical, thank you very much. I hope you saw that your models have arrived, the ones you've painted, dioramas. So we'll be looking at those. Very excited about those. Savrils, hello, thank you. I think it was Norgeek who gifted you a sub. Thank you very much, Norgeek. Yeah, latency meld, mini flames. Yeah, it is a bugger for audio. I'm not sure Twitch is that great sometimes for audio anyway, just in general. But hey ho. Now, Red Monster SC, you're asking about the Raven, and whether we have it. We don't have it. It was sort of paid for. Actually, interestingly, not by CIG directly. It was actually paid by Intel. But they didn't really have anything to do with it after the event, so we ended up storing it, and then we pulled it out of storage, gave it a bit of a repaint and a buff, because the first time we did it for CitizenCon 2947, from getting the job to delivering it was 27 days, and there were some things that got rushed that, with a bit more time, because we're doing it as an office install, could be done a little bit better, and we could play around with it a bit more. And we had to play with it anyway to get it rigged for hanging and stuff. There was already a frame in it for hanging, but it was nice to kind of have a little bit more time to play around with it. So not only did we take the Raven, we also did the big reception desk and this massive truss frame to actually hold the Raven, because the Raven weighs a quarter of a ton, and it's a fairly tight space in Wimslow for the Raven to go. It does take up a lot of room, so we hauled it up on lifting chains and then put all its lighting back in it and all this sort of stuff. So if you go to the office in Wimslow, it's hanging there. Now, the cunning amongst you will notice that Mr. Chris Roberts announced that they're moving the Manchester office. Now, we've known this for a while, but obviously we're going to have to go and move it because it can't stay there, because it's got to go to the new flagship office. So all of the Raven has to be taken back down again. So we don't know where it's going to go, because I've not seen the new building yet. We've not been down to see it yet. So there's still a little bit of debate over where it's going, because I don't know what kind of spaces have a 2-story atrium in this new place, or whether we'll have to wall mount it, build a sort of brackets that looks like it's flying up the wall. You can store it at my house, it'll be safe. I bet it will. The coolest thing we've ever done with it, in my opinion, I'm never going to be able to find this. Oh man, I put it somewhere. I had a picture. So Oh, it might be on my Twitch. It might be on my Twitter, sorry. But it's going to be going back an awfully long way. Yes, go away. So all the random stuff I have on my Twitter. Let's run through my Twitter. I'll kill 5 minutes. It'll be quite funny. Stanton 7 trophies, which have now been won and presumably are on the way to people's houses. My old Land Rover in what is now my this hole in the ground that is now my house. Chris Roberts on a bit of toast. You guys seen that? It's on my Twitter. I put it out into the world. I don't think anyone noticed that I put Chris Roberts in toast on my laser because I was bored. That was the result of a few too many beers. But I did do Chris Roberts in a bit of toast. Toast Roberts, exactly. I'm going to see The Longest Johns in December. We might have to go back a little bit here, to be honest, to find it. That was on my birthday a while ago. I took the 65-inch 4K off the wall and stuck it on my desk to play Star Citizen. There we go. This is what I was looking for. So I've been on GHG stream quite a few times over the years. God, I look so young there. And no, I'm never 100% sober, many flames. I can't guarantee that. So we did this stream with GHG, and he didn't believe us that this wasn't a background shot. You know, anyone else would have just had that as a background. We did not. I'm sure. So it was actually hung off a scaffold in our living room. So the computer that we streamed, the big telly down here that we did the stream from, there's our table of beer. Am I allowed to zoom in? Yeah. We had work lights because we were painting the living room. You can kind of see the windows in the background are splattered with paint. So all the windows were covered in plastic, and I just HVLP sprayed our living room. And so we built this scaffolding rig and hung the Raven like a foot and a half. This nose was about a foot off the ground. And it was just it was the most ludicrous thing to do just for one of GHG's streams. But yeah, that was probably the coolest place we ever had it. It was there for 2 weeks, because once I put it up there, I didn't want to take it down because it was 1/4 ton and it looked fucking awesome. It just filled the room. It was absolutely amazing. So that's the coolest place it's been, is our living room. But my God, it takes up some room. It is an absolute beast. This wasn't entirely just for fun. So this it was fun, but so this was us doing the rigging test for it. So before, when it was in Germany, it was on a plinth. How much does it weigh? 237 kilos. I don't know if you're a pounds man. I don't know what that equates to. But yeah, 237 kilos. So we had to balance it for weight, and this was the first time we'd actually rig lifted it. So it was interesting because the lifting points were still in its wings, so just basically above where its wing landing gears are, because that's where the structural point is anyway. So we had to drill a very, very small hole up through the wing, and then you put Reilinger cables through, these amazing lifting cables. I mean, I'm checking freight prices. Comes in quite a heavy box. So the cable goes through it, so that you don't have to have a massive hole in the wings. And when we lifted it by that, this was when we had it here in our living room, this was the first time we'd actually lifted it off the ground by its rigging. It's virtually balanced on its wings. I mean, you could literally just take 2 fingers and lift the nose up and down. It was so virtually perfectly balanced, which was a surprise to me, and wasn't necessarily a good thing. In other words, we were this close to have rigged it wrong, or we would have had to just ballast the nose basically, because obviously we wanted 3 lifting points so we could put it in one place and it's not going to just wobble about, and its front one is just behind the cockpit, so just behind the canopy. So if it had been a little bit heavier on the back than we thought, it would have actually gone the other way and the front one would have been slack. So I would say the the solution to this is metal blocks in the nose, and we would have ballasted it forward. But yeah, it turned out all right actually, and it's quite easy just to tweak its nose. When you were hanging it in Wimslow, it was fantastic because you could effectively hang it from its wing points and then just make it look right by adjusting the nose, but you could just do that by hand, which was really handy. So yeah, so that was the image I was looking for. Big Benny's crate. Oh, the old GSS unit. So this this desk is Mickey's, who is now QA. I think Mickey's QA now, and quite high up in QA. And this is the GSS unit, and it's like literally she had to move over. Now, why put it there is because Mr. Cameron Wilkie was at the other side of the room, and he wanted to have the GSS unit in his background, basically, because he's that sort of human being. Oh yeah, this this is to be going through my Twitter. What a fantastic thing! So this is we turned up to the ferry port in Hull, and Bob, my driver, who some of you have met, he was tired, and you sort of wind down the window to the import-export guy, and he goes, well, what's in the truck? And he just went, spaceship. And clearly the guy at the desk had just as long a day. He went, all right, and just wrote spaceship on our import form. So I kept that because I thought that was fucking hilarious. It's the man himself. That is the Bob. What a star he is. That's me looking really tired. Oh, this is a random picture. So this is the side of my house, and literally the day before the Raven was meant to go, we looked out the window and there was a dozen cows in our back garden because they'd knocked a fence down at the back and just wandered in, which wasn't exactly what we needed the day before we left. This is me in a Big Benny suit. Totally forgot we did this. This was me delivering a Big Benny's machine to the German office. I didn't make the suit. I can't claim the glory on that one. This is the better one. This is the one I was looking for. I wasn't looking for, but this is quite funny. So this was us loading the. This is us loading the Big Benny's machine. So it lights up and everything. It's awesome. It was done by Das Astro. Yes, it is Das Astro's Big Benny suit. And basically what happened was, the reason we ended up with it was he was wearing it at the Gloria Theatre event at Gamescom that year, and said to Brian Chambers, you can have it for the office. I don't really want to take it back on the train. I was just going to throw it in a bin. And Brian was like, yeah, I'll have it at the office. And we were standing next to him. We just turned around to us. Could you make that happen, please? It's like, yeah, of course we can. So we took it from the Gloria Theatre event, took it back to Colin Messe, and then we put it in the truck. And then you may remember a video. So we then drove to the... Oh, did you? Nice one. We then drove to the hotel, and Disco did a video of him walking into the lift wearing it. So we all did loads of videos. Poor Das Astro, us claiming all this of his awesome work. But yeah, we did loads of videos of it. Proof if proof be needed that I watch Grey-Headed Gamers streams in the workshop. Dinner in the Sky. So this is what I used to do before I had JR Design Fabrication. We had this big table, and we took people up on it for drinks and food and things. It was quite fun. That was the only time I think I ever actually sat on it as a punter. Because after I didn't work for them, I had free Michelin star food. It was relatively pleasant. So yes, so that's all that. So yes, so that's where it is. Really long way to answer the question, where is the Raven? The Raven is there. Food looks amazing. Yeah, it's really difficult to eat it when you're strapped in a racing bucket seat. We never really thought that event worked particularly well for dining. It was a great bar, but when you eat, you kind of go over your food and eat. And when you're strapped to a racing bucket seat, it's not an effective way of eating things. It's a cool experience. It was £27,000 a day to hire. So yeah, we mainly did corporate stuff with it, really. Yeah. It is an effective way of wearing your food, and if you just bought Michelin-star food, you don't really want to be wearing it. I think when we did it as where you could pay to go on it and have a meal, I think it was about £700 a ticket. I think when we had it down at Canary Wharf in London, and it's a lot of money, but it depends what your aim for going is, I guess. If you're a foodie, when we did like the Michelin star chefs and stuff on it, if you were a foodie and you were into Gordon Ramsay or Jamie or whoever we had on the table, it was probably really good value for money if you were a massive fan of their food. Because if you go to their restaurant, if you go to like we had Heston on it, and if you go to the Fat Duck, you spend a fortune going to the Fat Duck restaurant and you wouldn't see him. There he was stuck with you on a table at 130 feet in the air for 4 hours or 3 and a bit hours, so there was only you and 21 other people. So for that experience, to get to be with this chef and watch him cook in front of you and do all this, because there was cookers up there and stuff, it was probably really good value for money. But if you weren't into that bit of it, it's an expensive ass meal up in the air if it's slightly windy. Personal opinion, I'd go to the restaurant. So that's that. So that's cool. So I think that was all the questions. I would outright buy any alien ship you made, especially the Talon. The alien ships get requested a lot, but never the same ones. What will be the first alien ship that we'll do? Maybe the Merchantman. I could see that in the 1 to 500. I mean, we'll probably do quite a few of them as dioramas. We might as well, while we're talking about dioramas, let's get some dioramas. The 1 to 500 dioramas are great for that kind of thing, because we can horse through a huge amount of the models. My worry with the alien ships is that because they're quite niche, will we sell? Our break-even points on these kits is about 200 to 250. So, are we going to make it that far? I don't know. Right. So I'm trying to move these around so I don't fall out. So these are the 1 to 500. Yeah, the Banu Defender. So these are. I have zooming capabilities. So these are the 1 to 500 dioramas, or some of them anyway. So these have just come back from Lupercal, who is in chat. So Lupercal, stunning human being that he is, won our painting contest. And he was first place with his absolutely amazing freelancer, which we can totally find. You are Lupercal, aren't you? Why can't I find you? That's totally not you. Do you have a different name on Twitter, Lupercal? Could just look. You'll be in our people we follow. Oh, because no, I'm sure I follow you. Do I follow you? So I only follow 42 people. on Twitter. This is not JRDF. This is actual Big JR. I only I recognize the logo. I only follow 42 people, so it's a bit like I treat Twitter, my personal Twitter, like your old phones that only had 10 numbers in it. So if I want to follow someone else, I go through who I'm following and unfollow someone. So Lupercal in the past has painted his arrow. This was one he got quite a while ago, and this is his winning freelancer. I love the paint job on this. It's just the whole battered, beaten up freelancer, but it looks like it's still running. It's not a wreck. It's still going. It's still hauling. But yeah. So this was I love all like the blast damage on it and stuff. It's really cool. Really, it looks like your average freelancer. Exactly. So he won the paint contest as judged by John Crew, not us. And so he's now doing some painting for us. Which Secret was one of the reasons we wanted to do painting contests. Not that we have any issue with our current painter, other than he's only one human being and isn't a full-time professional painter. He owns a model shop. He's obviously had a bit more time over COVID while his model shop has been closed, but now he's back to work, and we therefore don't have a huge amount of his time to spend making models. So these arrived in the post yesterday. So we have itty bitty arrows, which I just find absolutely insane. So these are these are all obviously 1 to 500. So in the 1 to 500 diorama kit, God, I made these a little tight, didn't I? Okay. In the 1 to 500 diorama kit, you get 3 Ghost and Comet teeny tiny arrow. You get 3 of these guys in flight mode. And
I wonder who. It was JR.
That went really bizarre in my ear. Thank you, Westford Drew, for cheering 250. Little painting biddies. Yeah, that was a really weird sound in my ear. That was. So that's the in-flight one. So you can see there's the little hole for the base. I'll find one. I've got one kicking around. I've not varnished them yet, so that they're not as transparent as they should be yet. I worked out we're putting 250 dioramas on the shelf, so 50 of each of the 7 that were 350. Sorry, 50 of each of the 7 we're doing. So 250 of the larger ones, and then 100 with the Pisces and arrows in. So I need to do enough bases to do all of those kits before I open up the can, and then that's the landed one. So you can see it's obviously got its little wings up. Now obviously these are way too small to have the wings and things retractable and changeable, so we thought, well, solution to this is when you buy a arrow diorama kit, you get 3 in flight mode, 1, 2, 3 in flight mode and 1 landed, and that seems to be the sort of the solution to that. So your diorama kit comes with 4 of them in. They are obviously insanely painted. I mean, fucking mind-blowing. The other thing I wanted Lubrical to do for me is use the carrot stick to ease these out so I don't want to damage them. Is I wanted him to do a paint effect that we've played around with. Our other painter, Brett, has done really amazingly on a model that we're not allowed to show you. When we can, I can't wait to see it because it's amazing. But it's basically this metallic wash effect, and it kind of makes it look like a die cast. This is a really, without taking anything away from Lubrical, this is a really easy paint method. It's either brushed or sprayed. If it's a bigger model, you're better off sort of either can spraying it or airbrush spraying, but you can just paint it by hand with a color, and then using I think this is a Vulcan metal, and then using an ink wash to make all of the little details pop, and then just a lacquer over the top. And you do not need to be an amazing painter to get this amazing effect, and that is because the model has all these panel lines and all this detailing in it, and all you're doing is focus camera. Thank you. At least this camera does focus a lot faster. The whole idea is that you are you're making the inks just highlight the detail that's there. You're not having to introduce it yourself. You're just highlighting it. So I really like the way these are done. This is my sort of personal preference. Actually, if I was, for my personal collection of our ships, this is the paint job. I love them for full color and all the detail and all thing. I absolutely love this paint finish. I think it's absolutely amazing. Painting tutorials, yes, and they do look great in gold. And it's interesting. So when you do it in gold, you actually do a purple ink wash, because gold actually has a slightly purple reflection. And Brett did it for us, and it's like, it looks so cool. It looks genuinely gold. So that's cool. So painting tutorials. I think Lupercal has, I'm not speaking for him, has said he's interested, as has Brett. So we will do. I'd love to do some paint tutorials for the Carrack. Now we've got the stream a bit better set up. There's no reason why we couldn't actually do, if we sort of get them sorted out with cameras and stuff, that we couldn't actually do some live painting on the stream, and I'll just fucking yammer, and they can paint and tell us how they're doing it, which would be quite fun if they're up for that. So that's. Oh, we should get the Pisces out, shouldn't we? Gonna push these out the bottom because it'll be easier. Right. So again, we've got a landed Pisces with its little landing gear out. Landing gear is insane on this. This is all in the tough resin, so although they are small and delicate little models, but they're not ridiculously delicate. So that's that. And then there's one here in flight. Little flight. You even got the teeny guns on the front. Obviously, again, the wings not folded up. Oops, sorry. Wings not folded up on the in-flight one. But as the detail has come out really nicely on the little Pisces. So still waiting for the full color one. Yeah, there is so much detail on the belly of these, isn't there? Yeah. And I say the ink just makes it pop so nicely. It genuinely does work so well, and the inks have a lot to do with that. So let's get into these guys. So first of all, before we look at these little bags. So Lupercal has labelled these amazingly for me. Now, all of these bigger ships. They're like seed packets, come with the landing gear. So you can glue it together with the landing gear either in or out. Because I want to do photographs of these for the product photos with them in both states, I asked Lupercal to paint them not attached, which is really mean. Not saying that this is what you should do, but I wanted to be. I'll use like a Yoo-hoo, like what I class as a temporary glue, to do the photos. So we didn't need to paint two of everything just to be able to do the photos. So that's the Freelancers landing gears, the Max's landing gears, because the Max's landing gears are different, of course, to the normal Freelancer. More Cutlass. More Cutlass. Freelancer landing gears. Door. More. These are all just landing gears. All landing gears. Not that I have anything against landing gears, but they're all just landing gears. So I'm just gonna very carefully poke all these up. Obviously, these are built and painted versions of our kits. They will come not built and painted. There we go. So again, the engines do. Again, I've asked Lupercal not to glue some of these in so that I can do them posed, because obviously they are VTOL engines, so we need to be able to get them so that I can take pictures of them in both states. Now they do actually have shaped pins, so they should only be allowed effectively to sit where they're supposed to sit. If it was me owning these models, I think I probably would end up deciding how I wanted to have them and gluing them together one way or the other. This is the major difference in my opinion between our kit models and our diorama models. The kit models are entirely magnetized, so you can just keep swapping in and out the landing gears and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the dioramas, they still all allow you to decide which landing state you want to have the model in, but it's not designed to be interchangeable on magnets or anything like that. As I say, you can be clever, use blue tack, Yoo-hoo, something, to put the landing gear in so that you could take them out later if you want to change how you're displaying the model. You're not forced to glue it together. You can use temporary, temporary stuff. So that's cool. So again, we've got some, haven't received all of them yet. He's working really hard while going on holiday, and of course we've had this bloody heat wave here, which don't get me wrong, not like a US heat wave, just it's a bit muggy, but it does mean painting a fucking pain in the ass. So we've got sort of painted and metallic wash versions of these models. Now, I'm a huge fan of the painted model. I'm a huge fan of this painted model. I think it looks absolutely amazing. But my God, I love the metallic wash models. It's just a personal preference. I absolutely love them, and I think it really suits Star Citizen models to have them in this. Metallic wash. I think they're really, really nice. I also really like this size of model, and going back to all the all the questions about models, different models and things, we're going to do every single ship in 1 to 500 as fast as we can. I mean, we're dropping like 7 at once with these, so we can fire through them quite fast, and they're not tiny models. I've got fairly big hands. I mean, these are just over 3-inch models. They're not teeny tiny, and obviously they're 1 to 500 to scale with the 10.5-inch Carrack that we've just got done. So again, Freelancer. So the Freelancer painted is really cool because it's obviously slightly chromy with the slightly darker stripes, and then the actual metal wash one's not that dissimilar. But I think this must be the killer for the painters on Lupercals, because he's had to do all the same amount of like tedious detail to get 2 colors that are virtually the same next to each other. I feel your pain. We did a similar thing on the full-size Raven, because we had 2 blacks which were the same black but with a different sheen on it. So one was slightly matter than the other, and we did a lot of the paneling with that, and it was a nightmare. We don't have the.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, 2603_6000 BA07. Oh, so close. Not even close at all. Thank you for the follow. I hope that means something in some coding language. So there's the Max. Again, love how the panel lines just instantly get picked out by the wash. Same with the black. So we've got the black and the red. Obviously, turrets are different. There's no missile pods on the red, and it does say rescue down the side. You sort of see down the side, it just have rescue and rescue on the other side. Obviously, so this is quite an odd little geometry piece, because usually like rescue would be done as a decal, and it is in the game an actual paint decal, but I wanted to actually do it as a bit of raised geometry so that it would really pop, because otherwise I didn't want to have to do decals on this. So of course you have to do it twice, because the game can just mirror it as a decal, but when you're physicalizing it, when you do that, you end up with rescue backwards on one side. So let's be really careful with that. So we've got this spins, so that's the little scanner that sits on top. Whoa, don't drop it down. All of this is in the tough resin, which is nice, so you don't need to be as worried as you would be with sort of like the standard resins. So that's cool. I have a slight confession to make. This wing isn't right. I didn't notice it. Daj noticed it. So obviously we sent these models to Lupercal quite a while ago before we'd send them to JC, and the Cutlass Red actually has a little notch out of this front wing. So obviously we've now printed them with the notch in. I can't blame Daj. Daj saw it. It's my fault. I like the hours I've spent looking at these models. I didn't notice that. So when we do the promo shots, we'll Photoshop it. But rest assured, the actual models that we sent, that that JC got and that we've produced, do actually have the little notch out of it. I think it's where the front beacons are, like the flashy lights, because the blue has the notch as well. So then we have the painted red, which is nice with the rescue. As I say, the landing gear ports are empty. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh my god, little yellow details underneath. That's so cool. That's so cool. Love it. Love the engine detail. I love how the details pop on these models, and that is a one thing I will say about Drake ships. All of this greeble. The greeble is just like, all lubricants work for nothing. It's fine. That's what Photoshop's for. You'll never notice. I love the greeble on Drake ships because you can make the greeble pop really nicely, like on the black as well. I like the door on the black as well. I think the door looks really epic, just because you get that little two-toneness about it, and then you've got the turret and everything, and its wings, and yeah, no, it's really cool. Really like them. Love the paint jobs on them. Absolutely love them. And yeah, love how they've come out. I genuinely, we'd always said that we probably weren't going to do these sort of ships because the resins were too fragile and we didn't think we'd get the detail in them. The detail has gone in them absolutely fine, and this new Tough 2000 ABS-y like resin is just perfect for it. You know, it's been, as soon as we had that resin in hand, we went, right, we need to see whether these work now, and they do. So, you know, that's fantastic. So that's that. So we've oohed and ahed. Have to have a good ooh and ah. Thank you very much, Lubrical, for your sterling work. They're absolutely amazing. Right, on with the show. Will these be purchasable somewhere fully painted? Currently, we don't have within our license agreement the ability to sell our models built and painted. Now, that is something that may change. We can always ask for these things. When we do ask for these things, they do take a fair amount of time to sort of come through. It is something that a lot of people have asked for, especially in the last couple of months. And I think a lot of new people are sort of founders and things. And it's been a question that's come up time and time again. So what I will say is, if we do get permission in the future to be able to sell these painted, they will be built and painted within the UK or Europe or the US. So it will be at a painting money rate that is paid at this end of the world. I'm being as tactful as I can to say it's not little Chinese children painting these things. So, and you know, painting the full big models is a couple of days' work. So, you know, you think a couple of days' salary for a skilled individual will be added onto the top of the price of the kit. So, I would really like to offer it as an option. It's certainly not going to be a cheap option. It'll bring it up to the sort of price of the cyberpunk collectibles. If you saw like the painted bike and characters and stuff. Again, because I don't think they were Chinese models. I think they were European. You know, you don't get the same value for money. If you look at it, well, okay, no, that's not necessarily true. You might get the same value for money. You certainly don't get the same low money when you've got to pay people actual salaries, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm sure when we put them out, if we get permission, people will go off their nut at how much they'll cost. But things cost what they cost when they're done properly. So it is what it is. So speaking of things that are done properly, nice little segue in there. Carrack noses. The Carrack nose. I don't have one because JC's got them both, and I've got another one in the pot somewhere. So, very quick story of these noses. This is the canopy for the Carrack. Come on, camera. Oh, it's just apologies, sunlight. So this is the canopy for the Carrack. It has it has got a sort of bridge canopy cast inside it, and to do that we have, oh, I've got my mold over here. There we go. Boom, boom. So this was our original master, and that's what we used to create these. So that is a single cast for one of these, so that would fit in there. And then what we do is we put the internal bridge components, so like the mezzanine deck and the pilot and co-pilot and co-pilot seats of this little print here. So this print has got like the mezzanine deck and the hologlobe table, and the seats is still in scaffolding, obviously. Has got all that in, and then that comes off its scaffold, gets put into this cast, and then slightly blue tinted resin goes into the back, and then once that's set and cured and heated and everything, we get the Carrack bridge with it all sort of cast inside. I'll have a picture of it somewhere. Because I did put a picture of it out, didn't I? Definitely did. Yeah, there's the fellow. So yeah, so this is the nose for the Carrack with its bridge. Now, obviously, that's not an efficient way of doing it with one of these molds, because each time we do this, it takes about 11 hours. Because with an hour and a half, we've got to cast it, hour and a half in the pressure pot, then like 6 hours in an oven, and then it's got to cool for another like 4 hours. It is a cool looking bridge. Yeah, and that's it. And that's the other option that's out for people. They could buy the kit and find a local painter, and quite a few people have done that. There's been quite a few people who have commissioned paint jobs. And that's a brilliant way of doing it, because it means that you're near the person, you can speak to the person, you can have it done in org colors, because that is one thing that we know right now. Even if we do get permission to do them, we won't be able to do them in org colors. It'll be like, say, the metallic wash as an effect, as like a metal effect for the model, or it'll be the standard in-game colors. We will not be able to do custom jobs. Hello, Nicotine. How are you? So that is a thing. That is a thing. So we needed to work out basically how many we could make in one go. So what we came up with was basically creating this honeycomb of hexagons. So we've got this honeycomb of hexagons. Each of these, we've put 5 bridges on. So we've got 5 bridges and 7 of these hexagons. So the idea is that we take this, we create a mold block of that in a hexagon, and then we do that 7 times to create 7 mold blocks, and then those 7 mold blocks go together, and that group fit in my pressure pot. So we can get 35 Carrack bridges in our pressure pot at the same time, because they need to be in the pressure pot for about 2-3 hours before they come out and go in the oven. And at that point, if we did another 7 molds, we could then do another casting and put those molds in the pressure pot. And I think that's probably what we're going to aim for, I think, is to do 14 silicon casts of these. Now, I did do this the last time, which is my pouring point, and it messed up because I hadn't thought well enough ahead. And when I actually put the pouring points in, where the holes are, they sort of lined up with the, let me just crack this off. With the, I'm not obviously sanded this, but they lined up with these bits of the solid resin, so they were virtually covered, so they didn't really work very well. So I've relocated them. Now, I did a print that was an abysmal failure. So this was supposed to be the other half of this molding block with these pour points on them, and it did weird things. So let me see if I can get an angle. So it kind of didn't adhere to the build platform properly, and a load of these came off, and it was a bit of a failure. Now, if this was obviously some kind of production thing, it'd be going in the bin. I can tell you why it happened. So I wanted to print it directly onto the build platform, because if you print something completely flat in a single layer, there is no print lines in it, because this is all one layer of resin. So there are advantages to printing directly onto the platform, but it doesn't always work well, and this hasn't worked well. But I think the top... No, I don't think I had a cup, because it's solid. It just, as it peeled, it just peeled this off like a flap. I think. I don't know. But I think the top is flat enough. And these, I thought, well, I could just print them and glue them on, because this half of our master. Let's just hope my cable's long enough. Oh, good God, we're good. This part of the master is just for these pour points. There's none of the actual detail. These pour points get cut off, so it doesn't really matter if it's a bit shitty, as long as we can make a silicon mold from it. So I thought, you know what, I'll just print the pour points and we'll just glue them on. So that's what we're going to do. Top work. Sometimes you just have to not waste any more fucking resin. This is the thing with this kind of... oh, this is on the 3. I've done all the mold blocks on the 3, just because you get a much better surface quality. I say this one didn't have an issue, so I don't know why this one... This was at 50 micron, this was at 100. So, I don't know. If I'd put it up on scaffolding and stuff, it would have been fine, but then, yeah, I didn't want to. It was a really fast print, and I thought, oh, you know what? I was like in two minds whether I should even bother doing this kind of lid for it, because I just, all but the first one, which I struggled with because the lid I just filled in at the back, and it's like, I'd like to have a lid on them, just because I think the backs then become a little bit flusher, but they don't really affect the model, if I'm completely honest. And that glue's dead. They don't really affect the model, if I'm perfectly honest. So, yeah, I don't know. Right, so, bit of sandpaper. Can't tell me there's no sandpaper on my desk. I refuse to believe it. It's the truth, though. Oh, too old for this. Right. Oh, this is you printing your mounts for your HOTAS, Drew. Yeah, you don't want to mess it up in the real resin. It's unforgivingly expensive. And this is the thing with this resin. I couldn't find out how much resin there was in that. But you know, this is £120 a litre, so you just don't want to waste it. If I can salvage it, I'll salvage it. I say especially because this isn't a production part. It's just a, it's just a master molding thing, but it's not for the actual bit itself. I'm 3D printing a casting noob. Oh, sorry, I completely misread that. I do apologise, many flames. I'm a 3D printing casting noob. What purpose is the lip glue around the edge serve? Right, okay, very good question. So this is a key, and it serves two purposes. So when so one has a protruding key and one has a recessed key, so that when we take a cast of the two of them, we end up with this, and then we know that they seat properly. And that does two things. One, it creates basically a seal. That'd be better. It creates a seal so that when we hold these two together, this resin's under pressure when we're putting it in, so it will leak out of places, and that just helps give yourself a much better seal. And also, this is a sort of a shitty example-ish, although this is a better example actually. So let's just take this as the example. There's 5, obviously this way, John. There's 5 canopies in there, and because of this insert we're putting into the canopy, the pour point and the air point for each of these has to be in a specific place. And we could very easily, in that it's a 6-sided shape, put that key on the wrong way. So that's why it's got this shape in it, so that it'll only fit in one way, and then all those pour points will line up with these perfectly. So it kind of has 2 roles. I'm not claiming to have invented my method of casting things. I'm not an experienced caster either. It's something I'm getting into, and it's something I want to get a lot better at, because I genuinely think there's an amazing worth in combining really good 3D printing techniques with really good casting techniques. When you do a 2-part mold, so for a complex shape, when you're casting something, traditionally you would have a master, which would be either a clay model or wood and clay, or whatever you've traditionally used to make your sort of master for what you're making. You then set it halfway up in clay and then go around with a spatula, and you actually make your own keys with things and all this sort of stuff. One of the great advantages of 3D printing is that you can make both sides of a 2-part master perfectly accurately, cast them in silicon as 2 separate items, and they will go together perfectly. Now that's something you can't do traditionally, because you would have to hand make 2 objects that when you put them together are perfect. That's really hard to do, but with the 3D printing it's not. So you can make 2-part molds, really complicated 2-part molds, without having to worry about having one master and getting that clay line really good. Especially like in this case, we want to make 14 molds, let alone, because we need to make 500 items, so we've got to make 14 molds. Now, all those molds would be slightly different because you get the clay in a different place and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, trying to come up with methods where you can combine 3D printing technology and methodology with casting methodology is like one of my big focuses of R&D at the moment. So principally at the moment, so we can do things like this, which is going really well. It has worked. Genuinely, we're really pleased with it. Oh, that's my own announcement. We are genuinely pleased with how that's going. What was I looking for? Yeah, that picture there. This is the coolest thing we've ever done casting wise, putting the bridge inside it, and it's a really important step. I think someone mentioned Prospector up in up on the list somewhere. Things like doing the Prospector, this makes it possible, because the issue we had with the Prospector was its weirdly domed glass bit at the front. Because that's not an opening canopy, we could do the same trick. We could cast the internals of the cockpit inside a block of resin to use on the things like the Prospector, although quite big in 1:100, but it's still a feasible method of doing it. And certainly for these capital ships, you imagine the Idris Bridge, things like that, we would use the same method, so all the bridge stations and stuff would be in it, very fragile little bits, and then cast into a block that you could then illuminate. So this has been like a big step forward for us, doing this sort of method. And realistically, the next step in this sort of exciting growth of casting is to use it for the second reason we need to get good at casting, which is big ships. Because there is stuff with the Cartwell, again, so useful for that sort of ship. Absolutely. One of our barriers for doing big ships, Idris, Kraken, obviously Kraken's not in game yet, we need to wait for it to be in game, but Idris, Kraken, 890, stuff like that, is they're too big to fit in our printers. And even if we got the bigger printer, you would, not joking, Excuse me. Not make you have to listen to me blowing on shit. It would make the price of the kit hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, because 3D printing is an expensive manufacturing technique, and the bigger the part that you're manufacturing, the worse that gets. The less competitive 3D printing gets, the bigger the item you're talking about. So having a method of casting large sections, so we can print them once, and then we can I'd say these don't need to be hugely accurate. They're literally just a little funnel to pour the resin into, and then the other little stick is just for the air to come back out. Yeah, and it's things like the Idris. We would do the fuselage, so we would create a master for the fuselage, or several masters, and then create a cast for a big couple of big casts for the main body, and then we'd 3D print all the turrets and all the detail-y bits on like we currently do. I don't think that would change, because it doesn't really need to. It's the main body sections of it. So I was doing a bit of calculation. I know last Wednesday we went over kind of the print times and stuff for the Carrack. So after doing all the numbers, based on the Form 3 printer, so we have 5 Formlabs Form 2 printers and 2 Formlabs Form 3 printers. Hope that was clear. I doubt it was. So they're the printers we have. Now we've moved as many prints back from the 3 to the 2 as we can without sort of any detriment to quality. Some we can, some we can't, so we've moved what we can. The 3s are still the bottleneck, because the prints that are on the Form 3 printer for the Carrack are the longer ones, and also they are the sort of bigger, longer prints, and they're the ones that need the 3 for its surface quality advantages. So fine, we know we need to use the 3s for those. I mean, I don't have an issue with that. So it's come down to the fact that we can print, assuming that that's the bottleneck for the whole thing, we get 1.25 Carracks per day out of the printers. So how is that worked out? Well, like a fuselage print for the front of the fuselage is a 22-hour print, but you get 3 of them on it. Aft sections a 16-hour print, but you get 3 of them on it. So when you take all the bits that need to be done on a Form 3 printer, and then you average out how much time per thing, so you work out roughly that it's 1.25 Carracks per day per printer. So we have 2 of them, so that's 2.5 Carracks a day. Westbrook Drew, who is on the JRDF team, he has one of these printers over in the States. So the plan is to basically get him to print some for us. Obviously, the ones that make sense to print are these massive, like 22-hour prints, because obviously he works, so he doesn't have to be present and doing a huge amount with them. It's also less for him to wash and cure, because we have a big wash and cure station. We have 3 washers and 2 cures, so he'll be having to do a bit more intensive post-processing on them to get them up to the same standard. So with that, conservatively, we can produce the 100 Carracks, which is what we want on the shelf. We'd love to have on shelf to start with in 30 days of 24/7 printing. So I think that's our initial target. It's not quite as bad as we thought it would be. We didn't know whether we'd need to. I think genuine on-stream conversation here, people. Is definitely behind the scenes. I think it will be worth you getting another wash, because even if you've got 2, it will make a big difference to the IPA quality for sure, especially with these big prints, because obviously when you're doing the fuselage, you can trap quite a bit inside it and stuff. So it's well worth having a second wash. So that'll be sort of intensive for a month, and then presumably he will carry on printing them if he hasn't got bored of the constant noise of 3D printers whirring away. Right, so they're glued, so that's cool. So yeah, so we're hopefully only looking at about 30 days production time for our first run of characters. If we fall short of that production time, we will still put it on sale on the day we're saying. We just won't have as many on the shelf. You know, so it will just be cool. That's why I'm moving it to the workshop. Good plan. So I probably haven't mentioned, down there at the bottom of the screen, we have our countdown clock. Now that's from the website. So that is for when all these lovelies go on sale. This is the countdown to the dioramas. We have everything signed off now. Their site artwork is signed off, legal is signed off, everything is signed off. The cards, the actual artwork will arrive back with us, I think, Monday or Tuesday next week. So plenty of time to pack them all up for Sunday stream launch. We always launch on a Sunday, on the Sunday stream, just because we like to do it live. So this countdown, I think, takes us to 7 o'clock UTC. Is that right? Yeah, an hour into the stream. I think I put it as an hour into the stream. So bit of time to talk shit and then put them on sale, and then you guys can. And then the thing is, they will be ready to post on the Monday. That's the thing. This isn't a pre-sale. I know you guys had to wait for all this. This isn't a pre-sale. All the orders that will be placed on Sunday will be posted on Monday. So there's not the yes. You guys are desperate to give us your money, and we appreciate that, but we also are desperate to get you the product. So there'll be no dicking about with pre-sales. Not on this watch. Not on my watch. Right. So next thing we have to do is create a silicon mold for these. Now to do that, we need a casting box. We've obviously made our life a little bit more complicated this time because we've created a hexagonal piece to do, so we need to make a hexagonal casting box, which is what we're going to do for the next 55 minutes. So buckle up, it's going to be a ride. Perhaps just a lap belt, you'll be fine. So yeah, feel free to fire questions in if you can't stand the pace. Right, what do we need to do? We stop digging around. That's what we need to do. Right. So, so this is obviously this is a SketchUp where I've been doing all sorts of stuff. So this had our old casting block. So this box here was our old casting box. Now I did have to adjust it ever so slightly when we did the other one. So I can't remember what I adjusted it to. So we're probably going to have to make one and then cut another one. But fine, I can live with that. So what we need to do is sort of follow the same trick that we did here. So we'll take our shape from inside. I mean, at the end of the day, this doesn't need to be absolutely bulletproof. There will be a little bit of leakage around the side anyway. As I said, this is under pressure when we put it in. It will find every hole. It will push into every nook and crevice. It's fine because you can sort of see on these, you do get these little edges. They're not affecting us. The ones that are on this side I just trimmed with a scalpel. Ignore this chunk out the side. That was something I cut. People that watch our stream regularly will remember why I cut this off. It was to get a bit of silicone to stuff into the end of a lid to try and get it to seal on a syringe. So it was like, I need a bit of silicone. But yeah, so you just trim off excess. We know that's going to happen. We don't care that's going to happen. You know, there's two levels of what we do. There's workshop stuff, and there's stuff that goes in a box and gets sent to you. There's an awful lot of just makering at our end because we know things that don't actually have a knock-on effect to the end quality of the product. What the little chamfery bits around the outside of a mold make no difference. So we're not worrying ourselves about that. So we know we've got this shape, so that's fine. We'll assume we'll just... In theory, if we cut it right, the laser's width should cut it a bit more than want it, so no, so that's where we have the issue. So the laser, when the laser cuts it, it isn't an infinitesimally small line. It's about 0.3 mil. So we'll need to make this ever so slightly bigger because when it cuts it, the piece it's cut out will be ever so slightly smaller. So that's probably why we ended up with a little bit tight last time. So if we just notch it out by, everything here is not right because this is at 1 to 500 scale. So let's just knock it out by a tiny bit. I say it's just like the width of the laser. I'm entirely guesstimating that, but that's fine. I can live with that. So let's just take this and put it somewhere else so that we can work with it. Okay, so this is the base of our new casting box, and we'll try and do the same that we did before, which was to basically have a base and then 6 identical sides, and we'll just sort of click them together like a very simple 3D jigsaw and then wrap it in tape. That's what we're going for here, people. Nothing rocket sciencey. Don't you worry. We've got you. So 2000, yes. So I'm at 1 to 5. I'm drawing everything at 1 to 500 scale here because when I do the models itself, I don't reduce the model in size till the very end step, for reasons to do with SketchUp being useless. So SketchUp is an awful program, but I love it because I'm a sadist, I think, sometimes. It's the only program I've ever found that can do what we do, which is problematic, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So I wouldn't swap SketchUp for something else. I say I do really like using it. It's just a very slow program to do this sort of work on, but sometimes slow is just accurate. And oh, that wasn't an angle. Yes, exactly, engineer. All CAD programs have quirks. There is no such thing as a perfect CAD program. that just doesn't exist. That just doesn't exist. You're damn right. And we don't just use SketchUp as well. We use SketchUp, 3D Coat. I also use a bit of Blender for a few. Again, I basically use Blender and Mesh Mixer for 2 specific tasks that neither 3D Coat nor SketchUp will allow me to do. So I have those 2 programs purely to do one function. So I'll export something and do that function, export it back again. And it just seems madness, but like every CAD program has different tools, and it's like I need that tool, and the other programs don't have it. No matter how much I whinge to them about it and go, if you could just, you see this thing that Blender does, you see this, could you just make your program do that too? That'd be fucking marvelous, thank you. But yeah, it is what it is. I think most CAD people are probably the same. They have 30 million programs that they use simultaneously. It's a conspiracy. You're not wrong, Haskahar. You are not wrong. I'm sure it's the same in. Is it the same in like photo editing and stuff? Do you have? Does Photoshop have one thing it doesn't do, or is Photoshop the thing that does everything and it costs you a zillion pounds? That'll be £1 zillion, please, sir. Photoshop is magic. It is. It's magically priced as well. It's magically priced. I dread to think how much CIG. I genuinely don't know the answer to this. I'm not just like saying this. I dread to think how much CIG must pay in 3ds Max licenses, because so many of them use 3ds. It's probably why they try and do so much in Engine, in Star Engine, because that's their, software, because that means that less people need full copies of 3ds Max. God, it's like $600 a month for a pleb to have it. How tall do we want this casting box? I quite liked this height of casting box. I'm going to use that height again. What did I make it? Cool. Right, so don't be an idiot. Right, so this needs to come into here. Which means actually we'll obviously have the gap on the outside, but that's what the tape's for. We'll be fine. Cool, so that's just going to click into the side like that, and that'll kind of give us our casting box. I need myself to get into it. Yeah, and that's actually the worst thing sometimes is when you know you've got something, a project you need, and you know the software that you don't know how to use, or you've not used in a long time, or you're not even sure what kind of, what you need to use for it, is trying to work out what program to teach yourself to do it. Because what if you go into it all and then it wasn't the best program for it, and then someone else goes, oh no, you should have used this, and you just go, and it's fine, it's done. It's like, bastard. I've done that so many times. Just, can you tell? Yeah, pain in the ass. Thankfully, we now live in a time where there are communities like ours. Oh, can I just put a big shout out as well for our makers Discord at the moment. Our makers Discord, makers channel in the Discord is doing some amazing things. Mr. Leonard Rain has been teaching himself, talking about this, teaching himself Blender. Has been doing some little Blender tutorials on how to make this dude, and he's 3D printed it on his 3D printer, it looks really cool as well. I really like him. He's quite freaky. Look at the teeth. Isn't that so cool? But yeah, no, this is really like cool orange resin. That looks really nice. So congrats to him. Looks really awesome. Hayashi has been doing yet more work on his amazing helmets. He posted a video of this one that he's working on, which is just absolutely awesome. So yeah, if there's anyone out there that's watching this stream that isn't already in our makers Discord, exclamation Discord in chat. Thank you. Thank you, Mini Flames. Get yourself in there. I mean, we've got amazing guys that do a lot of work with us, like Engineer and Westbrook Drew. This is one of Engineer's amazing works, and they are by far and away the best people to come and ask these sort of questions. Tell them what you're doing, and the chances are they'll know exactly which software not to use. Steve CC's been doing some tabletop gaming stuff with the 1 to 500, so he's cut these out 1 to 500, waiting for the models, which is really awesome. So you can't even wait for the models to get on with thinking about a tabletop game, which is fantastic. So he's already working on that. So yeah, it's the makers community in our Discord is really starting to get together now. It's brilliant. It's great to see what we made it for. It isn't an exclusive club for our models. It's very much about everyone else doing stuff, and we're certainly not against. Now, I don't know whether people are cautious of doing Star Citizen ship builds on our channel. We have nothing against it. The only thing that we can't allow is people sharing files, because it's against the T's and C's of the license agreement with CIG. Not mine, yours. It's if anything that goes against the terms of service of the fan kit license, we obviously can't have going on in our server. Apologies. It's what DMs are for, I guess. We discourage it anyway, because mainly out of bitterness and spite, because it took us 2 years to get a license. So we're like, miseries that we are. But yeah, sorry, sorry, not sorry. But yeah, no, get yourself in there, get your questions answered. We've also got in here. We've got the hangar for general chit chat and all that kind of stuff. Oh, 2 of you jumped in already. Thank you very much. We also have kit list. So everyone that's in the server is encouraged to basically put a little thing in here and basically list what equipment they have and have had, experience with, so that if someone's having an issue with a printer or is thinking about what to buy, they can look at this list and see, Westbrook Drew has got a Printerbot Simple and a Printerbot Pro. I'll message Westbrook Drew and go, can you give me advice? Are they a bag of shite? Or are they the best thing ever? So we wanted to build up this kit list basically of everything that people, not just 3D printers, and we've got all of our stuff on here. So we've got our sort of our CNCs and our painting systems and everything on there, so that you can, ask specific questions about specific pieces of kit, because we think that's really useful, and it's something that we always need in our lives when we're looking for new bits of equipment. So trying to kind of make it the go-to place for that kind of stuff. And if you can't find something there, ask anyway, because chances are we've come across it. We know someone who's got something, and we can ask around. Do you know what I mean? Right, so we need to export that. We're just going to have to deal with the scaling later, and it can just go in the Carrack bin here before. Cool. To the flying... Oh no, the laser. Not the flying machine. Let's go to the laser. Oh, stand up now. It's probably not a bad thing. Excuse me. Could do with a drink. I'm about to go and get a drink in a minute. Right, so I love my little screen. I've got a little screen here. I've got one of my little pie screens set up as a little camera monitor and stuff. And I can still see chat. Yeah, absolutely. Get in there, ask around. I say detail what your challenge is. What the project entails. I can guarantee you will get a huge amount of advice on that. So we're going to cut this out of acrylic. So we're going to start off with this. These are the bases for the... I kind of want to keep this file, so I'm just... let's just... Don't get too excited about that. There's a lot of folders for ships that haven't been started yet. It's like, oh, I wonder if we should do this. So many folders. Yes, call this casting box V2. Right, okay, so we can just get rid of all those because we don't need those now. It was green and black, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. So let's import. Our parts are going to be massive because so 0, 2, that going to be right? That looks too small to me. May have gone too far there. There we go. That looks better. So we're also going to use quite a lot of acrylic doing this, but hey, we'll just do 2 sides and we'll see if they fit together. Is that logical? I think that's logical. The reason I'm just going backwards is because I totally forgot to actually see where this laser is going to cut. I need to set up better templates on this, but I'm going to do that because then I know it's going to be okay. Right, okay. So we need to turn the laser on. Laser is now on. We've got air. Air is on, so that's fine. I've got my very technical wooden frame here. Now you can see when it gets to the edge, it goes through the wood, which is quite funny. So this is to lift the acrylic off the deck, because the deck is kind of this kind of metal honeycomb. And if the laser bounces into it... Although, does it matter a fuck? No, let's not. Let's not use this, because then I can show you what happens when you don't use this. Because it doesn't matter in this instance, because we don't care about the edge finish quality. But this will be a really interesting opportunity to actually show you why we do it. So, grab a bit of acrylic. I shall take the peel-offs off now, because again, not really bothered about it being scratched. Is that 4mm or 5mm? That is 5mm. I don't really want 5mm. I want 4mm. Since I've done everything in 4mm, and I'd say I've got loads. I haven't got loads of any acrylic at the moment, so I'm down to like last bits of a sheet of it now. So I'm gonna have to order some more plastic. All right. Right, and put that in there. We're then going to zero the laser. I'm going to get my glasses and look really cool again. Hell yeah. I'll try and get them even vaguely straight. I noticed like last stream they were on my like face like this and I never noticed. Ruined my cool image. So these are laser glasses. They look ludicrously dark on the stream for some reason, because they're actually in real life not... I get it, it's all to do with light wavelengths. This cuts out the wavelength of the CO2 laser. Very important, especially when you're cutting acrylics, because it's bouncing back out of the... Oh, that's really annoying to see. There we go. It's kind of bouncing back off the sort of honeycomb and sort of bouncing around, and this isn't protective glass. I could probably get protective glass. It would probably cost as much as the laser. So I should just put a board on it probably. But yeah, the goggles. Yeah, but on camera they're like completely opaque. It's absolutely bizarre, and they're still not straight. My headphones aren't helping. Anyway,
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Wardy L, for the follow. We are now at 941 followers. We're nearly to our 1,000, guys, which is awesome. We are nearly to our 1,000, which is just absolutely spectacular. So let's now, after we did all that, move that into the corner. Right, hit the fan. So we've got a big extraction fan down here that sucks the fumes out, because obviously we're cutting plastics. And then we put compressed air in, and that sort of fires compressed air through the focal nozzle, which helps things not be on fire, basically. If you don't put it on, things catch fire. Let's do it. You'll still see little flame bursts. We're cutting plastic with a laser. It's going to happen. But it's fine. It's fine. So that's cool. Any questions while we wait? Lasers aren't amazingly fast. Well, okay. This is a 150 watt laser, so this is not a small laser. The laser tube's 1.4 meters long. But it takes quite a lot of grunt to get through plastics. Is it faster than my CNC? No. The CNC router is faster than the laser for physically cutting stuff, because it's a 7 kilowatt router, so it can munge through things so fast. But to get a really nice finish, you would have to bring the speed down, so this could probably do a better finish faster. So you don't have a choice with a laser. If you want to cut through something, you have to take it to the point where it'll cut through. You have to slow it down to that point. Whereas on a CNC, you can sort of go, well, I want just a dirty cut with a big bit in it, and just wallop through it. What you doing? So we're making a hexagonal casting box, Drew, for the silicon mold for the thing, and looking cool while we do it. Safety is cool. Yeah. We're done now. Beep, beep, beep. Hell yeah, motherfucker. Right, let's turn the... I don't know if you can actually hear the fan on the air. It's quite loud in here, actually. So that's... We're a little bit close to the edge. This is our first test cuts. It's fun. So you can see... which camera? Oh, no. Let's go to the other camera so I can show you this. That camera. Let's take these off. Right, so... Yeah. So, on the edge here, you see these little pits on the edge? Now what they are is, they will line up with the sort of waffle board, and that's the reflection of the laser bouncing back into the acrylic. And it looks like a chip. And I thought that's what they were to start with, because I was used to like having a... So that's interesting. So, right. So this edge, we cut so close to the edge of the material. This is the laser cut edge, and that's the edge from my table saw, which is quite interesting. So you can see the chips, because I was wellying this through the table saw, because I wasn't... It just has a big blade on it at the moment. So they're the sort of chips that I'm used to when you cut through something too quickly. So when I saw these chips, like on the laser side, I thought, oh, that's what they are, but they're not. It's this reflecting back of the waffle board. So yeah, I just think that's quite interesting. So let's see if this kind of works. So these are going to be... These need something to stop them floating in, so we'll do another jigsaw in the side. But I think that as a... Let's try and not hold it in the air while I'm doing it. They fit in there all right. The corner seems to be lining up okay. Might be a little bit loose. We could probably exist putting a teeny tiny bit on the side and then do another key, and then we'll be fine. So let's do that. Let's do that right now. I'm sitting on my wire. Oh, there we go. Right. So, I say, let's make this... Let's just bring this out ever so slightly. Just a soupçon out the side. Damn it! Nope. It's literally all I want. Okay. And then we'll just take a kind of midline cut. Like that. We just need to just quickly idiot check ourselves. Could be longer, couldn't it? Because it's... I don't think it'll matter. I'm perfectly honest. Does it matter that that won't be... That'll be shorter? I'm just trying to get my angles right here without having to actually draw it. We should totally draw it. Otherwise it's not going to work. God Yeah, it doesn't need to actually come in a huge amount, does it? So interesting, what we could do is make this stick out more, and then take it from there. Like that. And make that the axis, then we'll actually be drawing on the red axis, won't we? That'll make our life a lot easier. So it'll be like that, and then we could just stop it there. Like that. So that, in theory, will be that corner. As I say, it's a really dirty corner because at the end of the day, let's have this shoot out a little bit, because then it'll definitely catch that corner. I prefer it shot out a little bit more. I say it's going to be wrapped the fucking tape around the outside anyway. So that's cool. Right, okay. I don't actually want any of this. Go away. Right, okay. So there are shapes. So that's fine. Can we determine whether this is going to be the right size? It's pretty quick, thank you. Try not to make you guys wait around. Oh no, it's going to be, that's well tight. I'd say we need a couple of mil in that. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Yeah. Okie dokie. So, again, we'll do this very badly. We'll do it over there, actually. Let's just get them out of here and get them into there. This looks like a fun process. Yeah, I mean, this is making. That sounds like, I know that sounds awful, but like, you know, this is shouldn't have potentially, but if it's then too short, it's not going to catch that angle, and it could fold in a bit. And I can put tape round top and bottom, and then wrap the fuck out of it. And hot glue. There's always hot glue. Hot glue is very good when doing mold boxes. Let's say, your normal mold box are just bits of acrylic hot glued together. it's all very not very technical. But yeah, no, no, I don't want to stand down. What this looks like on the outside makes no difference whatsoever. We're just using it basically to make a block of silicon. The outside of it is entirely immaterial. It will just trim the silicon with a blade if there's any bit sticking out. So, not worried. Not worried. So we're determined that this needs to be 0.2. Right, so if this is 84 millimeters high, we could just do this really jonkily, couldn't we? That's fine. So let's call that 8586 millimeters high. No, not 8,000. Thank you. Like it, wrap it like my Christmas presents. Somehow dirty. I don't know what's the euphemism for, but we'll go with it. Sorry, it should be on the screen. 3 pieces of tape. Excellent. Just one roll one way, one roll the other way. Me and my mum have this tradition of wrapping each other's presents in tin foil because it's like, it's ultimately recyclable. It's great for the environment and requires no tape or anything silly like that. Right, let's get rid of those. I'm going to use quite a lot of plastic making these. Hey ho. Cool, let's do it. Let's put this back where it was. Fans back on. Go! I've got my glasses. Can't look at it if I've not got my glasses. See, the thing is, right, Brian Chambers could wear these and he'd look cool as fuck. Because Brian Chambers can do anything and look cool as fuck. Now, I could turn the light off. I want to see if you can see the sparks. Oh, this has a light inside it. I didn't even know that. There we go. So watch out for the sparks. Oh, it looks even cooler in the dark. Yeah, I don't think you can see it sparking out. I can see it tiny. I'll turn the red dot off. Just turn all the lights out. It's been completely pitch dark. See a few? Yeah. So those little sparks, that's it reflecting off the waffle board, the honeycomb, and like sparking back into the acrylic, and that's what gives you that thing that looks like a chip. So the way of getting around it is, I have this horrid wooden frame. I should CNC a shorter one, so it's suspended in the air and then they just drop each part. Now the only issue with this is sometimes they drop and they don't drop perfectly straight, so they'll sit to one side and then the next laser path will damage them, so you end up having to throw them away, which is annoying. I'm going to turn the lights back on because you know, it's quite dark in my sunglasses with all the lights turned off, oddly enough. Odd that. Odd that. Right. Okie dokie. Yeah, oh good, you saw some. That's excellent. I said they're not, it's nothing like, it's nothing monumental, don't get me wrong. It's not like, it's not all fire and brimstone. I mean, to be honest, if you don't put the air on with acrylic, it can get a little bit frightening. So that's cool. So that'll stop it coming in. That looks about right. So let's cut another 4 sides. I think that will be fine. Oh, didn't press my thing. Apologies. I need to like have a remote camera operator, I think, on the other end of the stream that can. James did make us a bit of software that meant you can control OBS remotely over the interweb. So I might set that up with Drew or something, and then he can, when I forget to change cameras or I'm on the wrong camera, he can he can like edit the stream from that end. You could put foam scrap parts. Well, no, because that would burn the foam, and then you would get like the foam residue on the bottom of the acrylic. Same with wood. You might get the oils coming out the wood. I would think you would with foam. I mean, it wouldn't take long before it cut it into a lot of teeny tiny bits. Let's try it. See what happens. I have here a piece of foam. I have here a piece of foam. Let's see what happens. Let's see. So drop the bed down. The only problem with cheap lasers is they don't have a like automated Z-axis, so you have to kind of manually, like a pleb would have to do, manually set the height. That's fine. I can live with it. Don't get me wrong. I can live with it. Oh, foam on the outside like a wooden frame. Yeah, it's I think what I'll end up doing is cutting a wooden frame, but just using 12mm or something like that. So it's not got far enough to drop that it would move. Like it bounces because it's like 2 inches. Like bloop. It's just off to the side. Happens like 1 in 10 times or something. It's just it's like it's not quite the hockey puck syndrome on a CNC machine. I've never described that to people. That's how you set a workshop on fire with a CNC machine. I've done it once. It's why you should never turn your back on a CNC machine because it will instantly burst into flames. It just does that. So I'm going to set. I don't want to delete this. I'm going to set that to a layer, and a different coloured layer, and tell it not to cut it. So let's just put 4 more of these on. Yeah, you sort of cut a. If you've got a CNC machine and you're cutting circles or something out, so say you've got like circles this sort of size, so you've got a router that comes down to the wood and There's a story in this. This was not done by a CNC machine, that was done by a laser. So your sort of router head comes down to the wood and cuts the circle out, then retracts up, and then like 1 in 20 times that hockey puck of wood will bounce out when it does it, which is fine. But then occasionally that hockey puck of wood will land just where it's going to start its next toolpath. So the router comes on, plunges through this hockey puck of wood, presses it because the collet is now pressing those bits of wood together, and then spins it at 24,000 RPM. And it is the quickest campfire you've ever seen in your life. It's hilarious. Right, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's put a lot of air in for this. Just in case. What could possibly go wrong? This is how I ended up with Chris Robertson toast. There's no flames, so that's always good. Can't see any sparks either, so we're good. So it'll be interesting if it leaves a residue like it does when, yeah, this could be amazing. We could use, it's a lot of effort to start a fire, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, to be honest, you could just like pull the 3-phase cables out the side, 415 volt, and just touch that together. It's probably quicker. Pretty sure 3-phase can start a fire much faster. Oh, thank you. Thank you. See, this is why I need an editor. This is the one thing I haven't got on this screen here, is I can't see what the stream can see. I need more monitors. It's like all streamers, I need
Look,
at least
JR,
300.
you should have set the car on fire. Really. I mean, it was a badly staged crime scene.
Thank you, Atlantis, for the raid. And I think you may be the first person that's used, the first person that's got to use that alert as well. Thank you very much, and welcome to Raiders from Atlantis' stream. Hope you had a good stream. We are, long story short, sitting here looking cool as fuck, with our health and safety glasses on, laser cutting some acrylic to make a casting box for our Carrack, this sort of like our production print Carrack fuselage bridge sections. So we are cutting some acrylic to make a little box. It's just finishing up now. I don't know what time we're at. 8:45. Let's see. Right. Fans off. Yeah, can you guys hear the fans? The fan is so loud in here. I'll be so impressed if these... Okay, so this is interesting. So as far as I can tell... it has solved the issue of... Yeah. We have indeed not got any. It is a little bit of an oily residue, but there is occasionally just an oily residue on acrylic anyway. A bit sticky. It has somewhat decimated our foam though, so it'll be quite expensive in foam to have it underneath everything. But that is good to know, because sometimes you're doing a one-off acrylic job and you are having a lot of issues with stuff, falling down. Might be a denser foam I can find that'll do the same job but not cut all the way. Worth investigating. I like it. Let's see. See, this is proper makering, you see. I get lots of ideas from you guys on the stream. It's one of the reasons I do it. So... this is going to be one of those things that's going to be fucking possible to hold without putting a bit of tape on first. Nope, it's gone. Let's get some tape. I had some tape because I was using it as a demonstrative analog for a bit of wood. Right. Exactly. It's a bouncing around of ideas. It's what engineering is, to be honest. It's like most of engineering and stuff. It's always quite difficult to do like proper engineering solo. It's because a lot of the time I've like been in stuff with like young engineers, and they feel it's a really negative space, because they'll come up with an idea and then someone else will go, no, you can't do that because of this, and what they don't get is that no, you can't do it because of this is not a criticism. It's a unless you said something really ludicrous, but a lot of the time it's right, okay, yes, that solves that problem, but it creates this problem. Okay, well, how do we solve this problem? And if you drill down and drill down and drill down enough, you do get to the stage where you've come up with a solution that you've sorted out all of those initial disadvantages and problems to the point where it works, and you all sit around and going, I now can't think of a reason why that won't work. And you go, yay, let's go to the pub. And hope the fuck someone wrote it down. But yeah, it's all about that collaboratively getting over all the problems, and that whole pointing the problems out or pointing out new problems that will arise is a really essential process, because that's what's making sure you don't waste a huge amount of time and money and kill people by doing something that's not going to work. So this is a very sugarly box, but for our purposes, it's going to be fine. I don't want to glue this box. I could glue this box together with acrylic glue, but I don't know whether I want to be able to like get the mold out, like get the block out of it just by undoing the tape. And then go whoop, and then we've got the mold. I probably do want to do that, so I'm not going to seal it up. We will, however, seal up the bottoms. It's so much harder to seal up a box that isn't square. It's bizarre. I might need to use a cutting method slightly more accurate than just tearing, I think. Let me find a scalpel. Honestly. Scissors. Yeah, and it's like engineers, and a lot of engineering is done at the pub. I've done so much like brainstorming stuff, with people over a drink, and just go, you don't necessarily, it wasn't the purpose you went there, don't get me wrong, just like, it's probably not productive overall, but just like you're out, you're chatting and stuff, and especially when you're meeting up with friends, I think. Like, if you've got other friends that are engineers that have got very different jobs, like I've got a friend who works for Blue Origin, and obviously he's got some really cool ideas and solutions that he's, witnessed over the last few years. And it's just like, they will, he'll bring things to the table that you just wouldn't think of, And it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's something cool like putting space rockets in space or making toy spaceships or whatever, it doesn't matter, because engineering-wise, you could be putting space rockets into space, and another guy could be working out how to produce a fish cake. I can guarantee you that we'll see things about making a fish cake that'll be harder than putting a rocket into space. And I mean that by, okay, he works in a factory that has to produce 1 million fish cakes a day, and it has to use these ingredients, and he'll be like, one of the things I did at Birdseye, so I did my apprenticeship, I brought up fish cakes, we were changing from palm oil to vegetable oil, and it was causing so many engineering problems with the machinery that was all designed for palm oil, and that was the hardest thing to fix out of everything. It took 3 years to convert machines, the production line over, and we had to get chemists in, and all this sort of stuff to try and basically change the sort of chemical properties of vegetable oil to do what palm oil used to do, so we didn't have to replace a 10 million pound production line because none of it worked making vegetable oil. And it was all to do with the viscosity of stuff when you're dealing with frozen food, because the vegetable oil just turned into mush really easily when you were trying to do it on a refrigerated line. It's just like, there's loads of chemicals you could add to it, but they're not safe to eat. So it's just like, can we not just stick with palm oil? So much easier. Anyway, sealed with beeswax. That's a good idea. Right. Okay. So that's our box. As I say, it's gonna create some really weird edges to it when obviously it's going to sit in here, and we're going to end up with weirder edges than these. As I say, it doesn't matter. That's not something we need to worry about. That is going to leak like fuck. So we are going to have to seal it up. Now we could seal it up on the inside, I suppose. Like we could just put let's just put some strips on the inside. So this does not need to be pretty. Yeah, it's just a good job being pretty. Yeah, we could put cling film in. I said, I bet as long as there's something, it's going to be trying to push out. So if we've got just a bit of tape on the inside, it'll effectively, the pressure pot will push this tape into the seam. And the silicon is really thick when we put it in. We'll get a bit of leakage. I'm not too worried. So I mean that's the top surface. So we're going to pour it flat. We've got a good. I have to sand this down to get. Mustn't put too much tape in it. Dear, I think I might have put a little bit too much tape around this. We should have put that in first, shouldn't we? Let's just snip this tape here. So we don't want this to be a snug fit. But yeah, if a few milliliters gets pushed out, we're not going to be. Let's just give this a quick sand around it. Let's not put all the sand sawdust into there. Good tip if you want to do flat edges, the foam that we use for packing is really good. As like a makeshift sanders block. Okay, let's push that into the bottom, and then we can tape that back up. In fact, we'll just take this tape off and put new tape on. put our tape in down the side.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much. Many numbers, Venom. Some crazy numbering people coming in today. What's that about? Not complaining. We are edging towards that 1,000 followers, which is pretty fucking awesome. It's a nice arbitrary number. Nothing happens when we get to 1,000, other than 1,000 people get internet bothered when I do stuff. But I was thinking we might do a fundraising thing next, to raise some money for cameras, more cameras, and the cam links and stuff. Might do like, yeah, we've got to auction some stuff off or something, can't we? Or like raffle some stuff. Are we allowed to do raffles on Twitch? Can you have a raffle where you actually buy tickets? I don't know. Raffles are a bit of a weird thing. They're perfectly legal in the UK, but I don't think they're legal worldwide. I know you struggle to have raffles at events in France and stuff, so I doubt we're allowed to do them on Twitch. I suppose we could just do a subscriber only giveaway, like draws, and then everyone at least has to sub, which could work, I suppose. Don't know. I'll look into it. I shall look into it. Right. I'm gonna try and get this silicon mold out without having to take all this apart, because doing this 14 times, I might glue this together. Might glue it together and drill a hole in the bottom, or laser a hole in the bottom to be able to push it out from the bottom. Might work. Might work. We'll see. We'll see. Right, there we go. I'll tape around the top. Yeah, cause I think it was Paraverse. You're not allowed to sell raffle tickets, but you can give. Was it Britain? We couldn't. Can't remember. I know this. I know. Obviously, you can have raffles in the UK, but some countries raffles come under gambling, even though you can't win cash prizes. It's because it's a game of chance and you're paying for the ticket and all the rest of it. But sometimes it's okay if you get your tickets free with entry and yeah, all that kind of lunacy. Right, so there we go. So that's flat in the bottom and seated quite nicely in there. So it's pretty ugly, but it's these molds don't have to be a pretty thing. Yeah, what are we? 9 o'clock. Probably don't have time to get all the casting gear out 'cause it's all put away. But yeah, so that's we've made our mold block. So we'll use this same box for this bit because this is the same size. We just won't fill it up as high. But you see, we've got plenty of headroom in this box. You sort of see where the canopies come from. We only probably need a centimetre above that. So that I will do tomorrow. And then it's the sort of thing I'll set it up, and probably for the next 2 or 3 streams we'll pour one, because I say we'll start with 7 and see we'll start with 1, check it works, then we'll get up to 7, so we're doing a whole pot at once, and we'll do that a few times to check that we can successfully cast a whole pot at once. And if we can't, we'll split the numbers of molds in half and do not 7 molds at a time. And then otherwise, we'll have to be sort of doing more of these. I might actually make another box. Thinking about it, if we do end up wanting to do these with its lid on, I might actually make another quick acrylic box so that we can pour this and this at the same time, because that will save us a bit of time. So that's probably worth doing. But But yeah, so that's that done. That's awesome. That was fairly quick. That was so it wasn't. It was just slightly odd that we had to make a hexagonal thing, which obviously is just a little bit fine. I say the silicon leaking out the side. It'll be a very tiny amount, and I say if this drops by a couple of millimeters, it'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. Cool. Right. If there's any more. Drake, hello. Any more questions? Throw them in. What other news have I got? So yeah, so this 10 days, 22 hours thing puts us at next Sunday, I think. I hope. If it isn't, a day will disappear off it. But yeah, this should be next Sunday. So obviously not this Sunday, next Sunday. What's going on this Sunday? I don't know what's going on this Sunday. Actually, probably have to start thinking about the next models because so we've got these dioramas are. Obviously, this next raft that's going on sale in 10 days' time, 11 days' time. The next 7, I think, are the Cutlass Blue, Gladius, Mantis. There's a big lug list. About another 7 coming out. Yeah, give me that Drake. See this Drake? Drake. Lots of Drake. See all the Drake. See? All the Drake. It's all Drakey. He's even got his little VTOLs that turn and everything. What more Drake could you want? It has all landing gear as well, but it's not attached. So these are the ones that Lupercal has painted. Yeah, so you can VTOL. You can set these into the VTOL mode, and the turret will turn as well. I don't want to snap it just in case Lupercal has glued that in. So basically, I wanted Lupercal not to glue these together in one state or another because I want to take photographs of them in both landed states. But there's, if I find it. So there's a little baggie with its landing gear in. So you can do it. You can have it as landing gear in or landing gear out. Say it's more just from a point of view of displaying it. I say I would probably, if I was doing it, I might just use some temporary glue or something like that. If I ever thought, well, I might want to have it in a different orientation later on. I think probably if we're looking at the Drake ships, for anyone who hasn't seen these, I like the rescue down the side of this one that we've got in. I love the greeble as well on the engines. The engine greeble is insane, and it comes out really nicely on when you're doing color painting as well because. My camera to focus. All that greeble that you have on the engines, really does pop out. I do love the engines. I can't believe I didn't notice the little yellow details under there. It's awesome. But yeah, the Drake ships do have that advantage of a lot more like sort of visible greeble and stuff. So my scanner's full now. It's a little scanner. Shut up and take all my money. You have to wait 10 days, 22 hours, 52 minutes, and 49 seconds. Then I'll take your money. I have to get a wheelbarrow ready. Yes, when that countdown runs out, these will be on sale, and not only in sale but also in stock. This is the thing. This isn't a countdown to a pre-sale. This is a countdown to you buy it on the Sunday, we ship it on the Monday. So because all of these now have been signed off. So the only thing we're waiting for, they're actually all produced. I can even prove that to you. As if I would lie, but just grab a random box here. This is the box of Cutlass Reds. So that is a lot of Cutlass Reds, all printed. But yeah, there's I think we've got 50 of all of them now, all printed. So they're ready to get packed up. And yeah, we're actually starting the print now. We're starting as the Carrack stuff. So JC has now signed the Carrack off. So needs to do the blue next. I know, I forgot about the blue. I totally did. I forgot about the blue. I forgot it was in game. So we're going to do that in the next draft. So we'll do the blue. So the blue's going to be really easy because I don't think there's anything. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're obviously a fan of the blue. I don't think there's anything on the blue that isn't on the red or the black. I think it's kind of like a combination of the two. I think it's like the missile, because it's got missile pods. So it's like the body with the airlocks on the side, but without rescue written on it. But it has missile pods and a turret rather than the scanner, and so all the aspects are there. I don't think I actually need to draw anything new for it. I just need to combine the elements in a slightly different way. But all the panel lining's the same, all the door panel lining's the same. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, don't get me wrong, between the black and the red from that point of view, and that all like the door paneling and stuff is the same underneath, and the underneath are the same, landing gears all the same. It's just basically the door is different, because obviously you got that door on the red, and then the opening kind of looking door on that side. I like that door. Door's cool. I'd say I love this metallic wash paint effect. It just makes every little detail on it pop. I actually quite like the way it does the canopy and stuff. Obviously, these little dioramas aren't going to have the clear canopies. Do you have opera? It's Uther Riley. It's a different album of his. It's like Uther Riley, Star Citizen-y, give me money or I kill you music. But there may well be opera singing in it. I can't guarantee it one way or the other. So yeah, I don't know why I don't like complete silence. I don't like my own voice either, so it's fine. Right, okay, cool. If there's no other questions, I shall see who we can raid. Oh, we can raid Detox. Is he actually doing anything? He is doing something. Detox is a good man to us. So yeah, we shall raid Detox. Say hi. Pick everything up. Tell him to go to the website. I think he's playing games, but yeah. And I shall see you on Sunday. We're Wednesday today. Yes, I'll see you on Sunday. Have a great week, and yeah, see you around. I can't wait. I can't wait for these to go on sale. It's gonna be so cool. Yeah, if you haven't already joined the Discord, and yeah, we shall see you in a few days. Tally bye.